you touched on it briefly earlier, there probably couldn't have been a better opportunity to evolve and grow in your leadership and kind of extend your leadership skills as during that time, because there was so much happening and the company was growing so much. What's the biggest takeaway, do you think, from that period for you in terms of what you learned about leadership?
Wow. I mean, there are so many. ServiceNow was, I mean, definitely a defining chapter in my life in many ways. It was so many years of extremely hard work, but so much fun. We changed as a company, I think every year. I met, so many amazing people, and actually a lot of them are still my friends today. But it always felt like we were kind of building a plane mid-flight, because of the growth, and because of the development of the company. It really felt that, I mean, so just to paint a picture, the first years we grew like 40, 50, 60%, year over year. But we also didn't really have too much, let's say, of a track record, because we were changing and we were evolving so much. So I guess the biggest learning was adaptability, trying to stay focused and creating clarity in like uncertain times, or when, we knew where we wanted to go, but like how to get there wasn't necessarily always like a straight path, again, because of the maybe lack of track record and the extreme development from a company perspective, which I absolutely loved. But then how to use and kind of being, adaptable, but trying to scale through others, but also empower others, was definitely a big takeaway. Working more also cross-functional. Obviously, I had a marketing responsibility, but working really close with other functions, whether it would be sales or pre-sales or customer outcomes, or our partner organization, to really, through a cross-functional collaboration, be able to scale and work as effective as possible, given the pace and the constant thing was change, which I loved, but definitely it was a good learning experience in many aspects.
Do you recall any situations or conversations from your leaders at the time that kind of inspired you, or where you thought, here's something that I relate to, that I like? You talked about empathy, for example, that you've since sort of emulated and followed, and that kind of inspired you a little bit?
Again, there's so many, but I was very fortunate to spend some time with one of the CMOs during the time, and I was always impressed. So Alan Marks is his name, and I was always impressed by his presence. So even obviously we were often remote, but his ability to be like in the room and really being focused and asking questions in a way that really, I think, had a very, depth in the conversation, that for me was always very, very inspiring. And obviously, learning more about how he viewed marketing and, connecting the dots, that was, an extremely useful experience for me.
Just leading on from that, I suppose, I mean, in your opinion, and both as a leader as well as an employee, what do you think is, I suppose, the most underrated leadership trait or kind of quality that you think that's really important, but actually it's probably underrated in the grand scheme of things and traits that we look at?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, so being a leader, we talk a lot about, vision and the decisiveness, and I think as leaders we're often expected to have answers, but I would say listening and really being present would be two of the traits that are probably more important than anything. And it's easy to say, right? I mean, we should, practice active listening, and you should be present, not only professionally, but in every situation. But it requires quite hard work. But I I also find that when you are truly able to be present and truly able to listen, asking questions and really listening to the answer and how things are being shared, that is, I think, the most powerful situation you can be in as a leader, because again, making sure that people are feeling heard, and learning from others through active listening, then the conversation, the relationship can really become magical. So definitely active listening and truly trying to be present. Those two are definitely underrated.
And I suppose that can be, I mean, you described the situation with ServiceNow where there's constant change and, you're going into uncharted territory and doing things that perhaps haven't been done before. It must be quite hard during those times because there's so much going on and your attention is divided, I suppose, right? But how do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. It's like, I think in most, most assignments you have, when you have, quite a few different things going on. I mean, you're never going to be finished, right? I mean, there's not, at 6 o'clock, you're kind of logging off and going home, and there is no work because you completed, a lot of tasks. You always kind of switched on in a way. So you also have to learn how to kind of navigate that. And that will always be, something new coming up. That, I mean, over time as well, like how to try to, coming back to how to prioritize, and trying to understand, where would sort of the, most impact, or depending on your priorities, like where, which tasks and which kind of projects would be most impactful. Trying to prioritize, that is really important, because it's no, the job will not just get done when the day is over. So the kind of inability to prioritize and understanding the outcome is going to be, well, it is a important component for sure.
Yeah.